To the Empire, we're all just expendable.
Yes, you are.
No!
These are the top 10 best linear games that you will regret not buying. So let's get right to business and start with the first game on this list, The Order 1886.
Damn it! Get to the oven!
They're advancing!
I don't know if you have heard of The Order 1886 before. I wouldn't blame you if you haven't, because it's a game that's flown under the radar for most people. And for many years now, The Order 1886 is, if I say, one of the best looking linear games. I won't be wrong, despite the fact that it came out all the way back in 2015. It's a third-person shooter that is a heck of a lot fun to play. It kinda reminds me of Gears' game in many ways, mostly because of its similar cover-based gunplay. The game nails that historical, steampunk-inspired vibe with unique weapons that feel genuinely different in terms of recoil, accuracy, and handling. This makes every gunfight feel intense, like you're right in the middle of a gritty Victorian battle. The only reason it didn't become a massive hit was its short playtime. Back then, it felt too brief for its hefty price. But now, you can grab it at a bargain and it's totally worth it. Trust me, you won't regret it, especially if you are into Gear-style cover-based shooting. Ryse Son of Rome is a solid game for anyone who loves gore-filled action and historically rich game worlds. Despite being a decade old, this game still holds up remarkably well, better than many AAA games that have recently been released. For someone like me who enjoys brutal combat and punishing gameplay, this one is like a dream come true. Many players complain that the game doesn't offer much room for interactivity with the world besides its linear quests, and I agree with them. But not entirely. You still get to explore the world to collect stuff, talk to some interesting characters, and simply admire artistic mastery that brings Rome to life with astonishing visuals. This is a game I can easily recommend to anyone who loves action, and has this knack for exploring historical places in video games. Now guys, I really love the Bioshock series. Each and every single game is like a masterpiece in its own way. But when it comes to linear gameplay, I think Infinite is the best among the bunch. The first thing you notice when you step into this game is the gorgeous world, full of detail, people living their life in some sort of alternate timeline. And this game does an awesome job at letting you experience each and everything through its gripping storyline. You are not just shooting the bad guys, it's an important part of the game, sure, but you talk to people, learn about their ideologies, their problems, while trying to help this magic lady who can literally take you to different dimensions, making for some mind-bending gameplay. And just like the previous Bioshock games, this one can really make you question reality. I'm a huge fan of superhero games, but sometimes it's hard to truly enjoy them because we already have such high expectations. We want that perfect mix of action, humor, and larger-than-life characters, and not every game delivers. But when the devs do get it right, like in Guardians of the Galaxy, you get an absolute masterpiece. I love the movies for their witty humor and unforgettable characters, and the game captures that same magic. From the laugh-out-loud banter to the unexpected emotional moments, it had me completely hooked. And, of course, the action is just as over-the-top as you'd hope. You're not just watching Star-Lord and his gang, you're controlling them, making them charge through waves of enemies, blasting and blowing things up, and pulling off crazy team combos that feel like pure comic book fun. It just hits you in the right spot, and although it's a linear adventure, you still get to play around a lot. It's a superhero game done right. Now, I'm sure you saw this one coming, and for good reason. This game is still an absolute masterpiece. The Max Payne series really needs no introduction. You can pick up any entry in the series and still have a blast. But since we're in 2024, I'd recommend going with the latest addition in the series. Max Payne 3 offers the same intense story, raw action, plenty of emotional moments, and of course that iconic bullet time mechanics. Man, those were some days. I can't believe it's been over a decade since this one came out. I really feel old now. But this game still feels young. The gunplay is still intense, the movements are smooth, the voice acting is top-notch. Sure, the graphics could use a bit of a new coat of paint, but it's still a cinematic masterpiece that's worth every single penny.
Good morning, Henry. Well, I guess good afternoon. You probably slept like a rock.
The first time I laid my eyes on Firewatch, I really wasn't expecting anything. I didn't even know what to expect. Even at the start, the game felt like it was just another walking simulator, but boy was I wrong. This game is so much more than that. You play as a Firewatch trying to keep the wilderness safe, a boring job that turns into something really interesting and eerie. There are strange things happening around this area, and now you've got to become an investigator and figure out what's actually going on. And report back to Delilah, your guide sitting on the other side of the radio. It might sound a little boring, but when you actually play this game, you will realize just how brilliantly the devs have told a story of isolation, regrets, and the weight of the choices you made in the past. It's an indie gem that tells a story that stays with you long after you finish playing. Kenna Bridge of Spirits was an unexpected surprise and a great one. It offers a world that feels alive and music that changes with the situation you are in. There's so much variety in this game, whether we talk about the enemies or the map areas, the game keeps things fresh. And unlike many others where you are just fighting enemies for the sake of taking them out, Kenna makes you care for the enemies, pushing you to help them get better. But that doesn't mean you are not fighting them, you still are. Speaking of fights, I really enjoyed the boss battles in this game. They are super fun and unexpectedly challenging for a game that looks so adorable. It's a different kind of experience, but one that you have to experience at least once.
Just expendable!
Yes, you are.
No!
This one's for all you Star Wars fans out there. Jedi Fallen Order is my absolute go-to whenever I'm craving that intense action, iconic locations, and a chance to see familiar faces from the Star Wars universe. This game is packed with those epic moments that make you feel like a true Jedi, from climbing ancient temples to facing down Imperial forces on legendary planets. But let's talk about the combat, because Jedi Fallen Order offers some of the smoothest and most satisfying lightsaber battles I've ever experienced so far. It's challenging, no doubt, and it takes some practice to really get good. But once you do, dodging enemy attacks and countering with perfectly timed strikes feels incredibly rewarding. And while it's a linear game, it still gives you enough freedom to look around and interact with your surroundings to satisfy your inner open-world fanboy itching. I am not missing out on Alan Wake 2. I mean, I just can't. This game is a modern-day masterpiece that brings back the classic mind-bending narrative of its predecessor, but with a heck of a new storyline and a new character. You are playing as an FBI agent trying to solve a mysterious murder puzzle with a lot of missing pieces. But you are also playing as Alan, who's facing his own mind-warping horrors in a separate, dark reality, which creates this sort of dual narrative that pulls you into both their worlds, which eventually connect, but I am not telling you how. If you have played the first game, you know what to expect from Alan Wake games, and this sequel provides so much more than that. And I don't even have to tell you how stunningly gorgeous the game looks. Yeah, eerie, but still one of the best looking games of this year. Mass Effect is my #1 pick if you want to truly experience the peak of linear storytelling that goes hand in hand with deep choice-driven gameplay. There's a very, very good chance you've already played at least one Mass Effect game, but if you haven't, you are missing out on a gem, man. However, you can enjoy all 3 games, 1, 2, and 3 in the Legendary Edition, which not only stitches them together for a seamless experience, but it also enhances the visuals and iron things out for a definitive Mass Effect gameplay. The reason why I love this series is that it's all connected. The choices that you make in one game get carried out to the next game, shaping alliances, rivalries, and even the fate of your crew. Whoever dies in one game stays dead in the next, which puts a lot of pressure on you to make the right choices, or at least think twice before you decide to engage in fights or leave one of your crew members to get sacrificed. And guys, with that, we have reached the end of the list. Let me know how many of these games you have played already and which one is your favorite. That's pretty much all for this video, but if you are looking for more games, check out this video on the screen.